today we caught an insane Bitcoin rally, right? 1400%. Although this is 150x leverage, we had a really tight stop and we basically caught the whole move. Well, actually, I don't want to say the whole move just because I trimmed most of my position at 200%. It happened while I was sleeping, which is, maybe if I'd seen the strength that was going on, may have left open more of our position, but you know, still made a boatload of money on this trade. I'll show you guys sort of my thought process behind it. So, I know typically I'm a futures and options trader, but we just partnered with BingX. Great platform. We're loving it so far. Everyone in the Discord is. So, this was all through BingX, but my charting, right? So we get this big impulsive move last night, or this was yesterday morning, and we sort of base, right? Where do we base at? Sort of at the right. We hold this volume node. That's sort of why I entered when I did. This black line was my entry at around 22,100, and so we had a really tight stop. I believe it was somewhere under this last low, and so I enter. This was, I think, like midnight, and then so I had my take profit on most of my position. I want to say like 75% of my position at 200%, and that got hit pretty quickly. So if we were to measure this move, right, I wanted with 150x leverage. So at this point, I basically would have been, I got filled out of most of my position. And then we have a insane run, little consolidation, right, during the day, and then end of day we just get this insane pump, almost 10% on the day. Or I don't want to say on the day because I guess they right, so we're able to catch basically this whole move. I don't have gotta be honest with you, I don't have too much left. Right now I'm just going after the percentage gain at this point, going for 2,000, going for 3,000. That's sort of what this line's at. I think this is at 2,000%. So we'll just hold the rest of the position. I don't care if the rest of this goes to zero. So just a little bit of a banger trade. I know BingX has a promotion with us going on. You guys will get $100 trading bonus. It'll strictly go towards the trade, right? You can't withdraw it. But if you do sign up with their link, they will give you two $50 bonuses to trade with, and you get to keep the profits. So, although they do max out the leverage on the bonuses, it's still a great way to get used to the platform with sort of real money, and no risk to you guys. Just sign up, and they'll get you that bonus in a couple days. So, we can now go over to what ES did today. So, not too much, right? I wasn't up during the morning session, but yeah, we can take a look at some of the executions we did on some of the scalps. All right, so as you can see, no executions in the morning. This is my eval account. I think I have 2 days left before it completes. So back again on the 1600 tick chart, we open, right, chop, or I'll show you on trading view, it's a little bit easier. We open, chop, chop, chop within this range, and sort of break out of it, right? Take out the overnight high and sort of fall back down. And this is sort of where I started paying attention, and these were our executions, right? First trade of the day, not the greatest, right? We saw a bad structure left up here. I believe it was at like 41, 42, 41. So got in right here, filled up this bad structure left at around 41.37. I'll show you on trade of 8 or on the footprint chart a bit later. But so I got stopped out of this one. Just set my stop loss at break even basically, and sort of came down, right? Tested this. I'll show you guys why I entered here. We had bad structure here, but we didn't necessarily come down and fill it, but I saw enough buying pressure here to get in and sort of aim for that bad structure at 41.42. We got out, set our limit, I believe 2 ticks under, and got filled there. And then we just sort of let this play out, right? We just sort of watch and watch as it sort of pumped up, and we sort of break this last high, right? Come back down, and then sort of tease over it, and that's a little bit more of a lotto play, right? We had to stop pretty low, I believe it's under the set of bad structure we had left here, and got out. We were actually aiming for 41.55, right? It was a big level going into yesterday, right? 41.55, big level where a bunch of sellers came in. Rather, buyers came in actually. I was looking at the footprint. Buyers came in, but there were enough sellers to sort of stomp that back down. So that was the level of interest going into today, and we don't hit it, right? We had our limits at, I believe, 54.50, and didn't get hit, so we just kept moving our stops up and got stopped out at 51 for nice. What is it? 4-point gain. Nice 4 points. This one was a 10-pointer, 4-pointer. And this one, end of day, sort of, right? Same sort of concept. I was hoping we would come down into the 30s to fill up this bad structure we left down here, but we didn't. Sort of held this 42 level really nicely, right? So what the red zone here is, sort of a pretty good inflection point we've had the last couple of days. So that's sort of why the box is there. Saw some good buying pressure there. Sort of this little wedge too, or this little trend line that we broke out of. I believe John Mon in our group called that out, and we got in longs, right? And I was only targeting this bad structure we left right back here, right? Got filled up there. But end of day comes around, right? And we break over 55. So end of day moves I don't really trust fully. I'd like to see 55, 54 hold during the overnight session, and maybe going into tomorrow and Friday, I think 55 will still be a pretty important zone to look after. So take a look at sort of the footprint and why I entered where I did. All right, so we'll cover up that. And so my first entry on the day was, I believe, up here, right? We see a big impulsive move down, but they leave bad structure. So then they actually immediately come back to fill some of it and then push it back down. And I was aiming to sort of come up to this area of bad structure, right? We sort of fill it, but not necessarily. So this is why 41.42 was my target once we got down here. And where was my entry? Okay, so here we got over these past highs. I got a little trigger happy. We got in here. Saw it sort of fill up more of this bad structure up here, but sort of rejected, right? That's sort of what happens, or tends to happen, when we complete, I guess, filling up that bad structure. So we come back down. We leave some bad structure here, a couple imbalances, but we don't come back and fill it, right? We see some pretty solid buying pressure come in here, especially on this candle. And that's sort of why I got in when I did. And this one we targeted that 41 or 42 zone, right? Because we filled up some of this back here. Now I'm targeting this. So that's sort of what happened. We let the trade play out, set my take profit a couple ticks under, and got filled out at 41.50. And then the next trade, right? We get over these highs, right? Sort of tease above it, come back down, tease above it. So that's why we went long here. I was hoping we would hit that 55, so I had my take profit at 54.50. These hit a high of 54, I believe, on the dot. So then as we kept moving our stop up, and eventually got stopped out at 51. I believe that one was a nice 4-point gain. An end of day, right? Important zone, that red box I showed you guys. 41, or I guess low 40s, that whole box. really bad delta, right? Means a ton more sellers here. And we come down, delta starts to sort of die down. It's not necessarily the green light to go long. It just shows you buying pressure seems to be dying down a little bit, and it gives a chance for bulls to step back in, right? So I mean, if you played strictly off delta, you would have been screwed here, 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 maybe even here. But we came right down to the box, saw decreasing delta, or I guess increasing delta, right, for longs, and got in. Then our target, I believe, we actually got in a bit later, right? This bounce would have been a nice one to play. Then we come back down here, sort of go long here, and when do we take our profits? 51.50. So there was a reason for that, I believe. What was it? Oh, this sort of bad structure here, right? Sort of not necessarily a complete auction. I know this is the 1600 take chart, but I guess you could use the same term there. And so that's sort of what our target was, and we come up and fill it. And then end of day, obviously we get that break up, which we were watching, but didn't necessarily get any trades in. So that was all we really did today. We had, I believe, a Tesla call swing that did pretty well, did okay today, but aside from that, not too much. And yeah, hope y'all caught some good moves today, and hope tomorrow's even better, right? At least today we got that break of 55, and sort of what we'll be looking at tomorrow and during the overnight session. Maybe we get a couple entries for a couple swings, not swings, I guess longer term holds. So yeah, that should be interesting, and I hope to catch y'all tomorrow. All right, see ya.